Well, hi people, fishos. This is just a short video to give you some idea of the rods that I would take with me if I'm going on a fishing trip. And tomorrow I'm going on such a trip because the weather's great. There's a lot of fish. It's November, early November, so I'm expecting workups. So I take a variety of rods each time just to cover my bases. So depending on what's happening, what fish are around. Plus also I'm already geared up. The rod's geared up with a certain lure that matches that rod, and I can flick from one to the other depending on what's happening, or I can have more than one rod operating at the time. So we'll just have a look at what I take with me and just how they're set up. So I sort of take at least 5, sometimes 6. I got 6 here. I'm going to take 6 tomorrow. I'm just experimenting with a new setup. As you can see, they're quite long. On the left is the longest. That's the soft bait rod, and I've got quite a long trout rod there. Actually, an old fiberglass one. I'm just trying that out this time. But that soft bait rod there is a microwave version 1, so it comes in 2 pieces, which is handy. And on the bottom of that I have a sustain, Shimano sustain, with 6 kg braid on it. Well, actually I got 9 line on that, Ocean Angler 9 line, which is just 2 colours, so but it's about that kg. And I've also there got a 1 ounce Ocean Angler jig head with the new Fusilier 7-inch soft bait on it, and that's proving to be good for bigger snapper and in the situations I might find myself tomorrow. So I've got a 1 ounce jig head because I'm going out to 30 metres plus probably, so I just need to have that that weight to get the soft bait down, especially being a 7-inch. So that's a good setup there. It's a great rod, it's got lots of power, it's long, it's great to use. I've really enjoyed that rod. Then I'll go to this next setup, which is a Penn Clash 6 kg braid. That rod, I've used that rod a lot. It's got very soft tips, so it's great for lures. It's got a lot more power through the base here, but it's been a very good rod. I've got that set up with a, as you can see there, that's the Weasel Pink Lumo. I've got my own assist hooks on there. I've worn the other ones out, so I've just stuck a couple on there, but that's my go-to whenever I stop anywhere. If I throw that over, pretty well know straight away whether there's any fish down there. They just can't seem to resist that setup, so that's always good. Then I go on to my sort of heavier duty setup. This is a Penn Slammer. It's got more kg drag, and I've got good 20-pound braid on there in the 9 line. So I've got that set up to handle it. This is a 90-gram jig, and this is great for large snapper or kingfish even, because there's quite a lot of grunt in this Ocean Angler micro jig rod. Might be quite fine, but it's a grunty thing, and so I've got that as a backup when there's bigger fish around. And that jig has been fantastic. I've worn my other one out, so I've just bought a new one, so I'm hoping there's some bigger fish around, kingfish. And this is my old Stratic, which I've had for quite a while, Shimano. I'm just taking that out on a trout rod, an old fiberglass, very, very bendy, soft tip trout rod, and I'll give that a go. But I will migrate that onto a Ocean Angler Spender, I think it is, to go with this reel, a really bendy rod, which is good for lures. I've got that set up with a leopard jitterbug there with a pink skirt, because pink's very strong at the moment. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes tomorrow. Then I use this one a lot. It's my Trinidad reel, and that's a TN14. I've got braid on that. It's got a star drag, and I've got an Ocean Angler very soft rod on there. It's the Powerflex titanium, so it's really good for pretty well anything actually. It bends a lot, but it's great for lures, especially with soft mouths, because it bends a lot. So I'm going to be taking out this, I took it out last week too, the new Jelly Baby. That's the orange one. I've got it on one of my jig sliders, but it works just as well on any of the others, and so that'll be good. And I'll just trail that behind the boat sometimes, just bouncing on the bottom. I'll work it every now and again if I want to. And then last but not least is this one here, which is an Okuma rod. It's a Metalloid 5NS, and it's got about 14 kgs of drag, so it's a much stronger reel. I've got 50-pound braid on that with quite a hefty leader, and I've really got that for jigging for kingfish or large snapper. But I'm just going to take it out tomorrow with this big heavy slider on it and a orange skirt with some good hooks. That's a Kuma tournament concept rod, so the actual eyelets rotate around the rod and end up facing downwards at the tip. So there's a few of those around now, and so that'll be good to use if I get into some kingfish or something. Good to have that as a backup. So that's basically the selection that I take each time, and then just depending what's happening, what I'll do. So let's hope we have a great day. So that's the rods, and then of course I've got my tackle bag as well, and so I've got a couple of plastic containers where I've got a whole lot of different lures, knife jigs, sliders, micro jigs, and all the skirts and stuff like that. So and terminal tackle. So it's one bag, but it's quite heavy, a lot of lead in it. So I take that out as well, and then that's pretty well my gear, you know. And so I'm set up for whatever happens, and if I have any breakages, I've got the stuff with me to repair on the job and carry on fishing. So that's about it. Pretty well the same thing every time I go out. So for the Gulf anyway. So unless I'm going stray lining, then I've got a couple of rods, stray line rods, and that's something else. That's nylon and bait runners, and so perhaps another time I'll show that.